To understand the technique of subtraction in the video, it's important to understand a couple things about numbers to make it a little clearer. So the first thing is about subtraction. Let's start with a simple subtraction. 10 take away 7, which of course equals 3. What I'm allowed to do is add a number to this as long as I add the same number to this. So if I add 2 to this one, and I add 2 to this one, it doesn't change the answer. So don't forget the parenthesis here. 10 plus 2 take away 7 plus 2 is just exactly the same. 12 take away 9, which is 3. Yeah? So if you imagine a set of scales and you add a weight on one side, it'll tilt, you put the same extra weight on the other side and it'll level again, so the balance is maintained. Now let's actually look at our number system and understand a little bit about how that works. So with that in mind, let's take a look at how our number system works before we actually do the calculation. So if we look at the summation here, our numbers are written as a weighted sum. So the first column is units, then it's tens, hundreds and thousands. So 8004 is 4 times 1 plus 0 times 10 plus 0 times 100 plus 8 times 1000. And similarly this one, 3685, 5 times 1 plus 8 times 10 plus 6 times 100 plus 3 times 1000. So it's a summation. So 8004 is therefore 8000 plus 0 hundreds plus 0 tens plus 4 units. I'm going to take away 3 thousands plus 6 hundreds plus 8 tens plus 5. Now, looking at it this way, the technique is somewhat revealed. Remember what I said at the beginning. If I add a number to this and then add the same number to this, it doesn't change the result. Okay, so if I added 1 and made it 8005, I could add 1 to this, 3686, and the result wouldn't change. This is exactly the same for this summation and this summation. If I wanted to add 1 to this sum, I could put plus 1 on the end. I would have to do the same to this one. I could add 10 to this sum. If I did, I would have to add 10 to this sum. It doesn't matter where I do it, as long as I add it on. If I add 100 to this sum, I have to add 100 to this sum. And I know I can do that without changing the result. So when we borrow to make this a 14, what are we doing? Well, if I make that a 14, we say we've borrowed 10. What we mean by that is we've, in a sense, in the technique we're going to be using now, we've added 10 to this expression, right? I'm not changing this or this or this. I've just said, right, okay, I'm going to add 10 to this expression, and I'm choosing to add it onto this number. So if I add 10 to this one, I must add 10 to this one. So I make this 90, because when I add 80 plus 10, that becomes 90. Yeah? So I've added 10 to the units value, if you like, here. These aren't columns, it's a sum. So 4 became 14. I've added 10. So I must add 10 to this. There's no point making this 15. We're back where we started, but I'll justifiably just put it on here. I could add it to this one, but it's not going to help me particularly. So 14 take away 5 is 9. 0 take away 90, we can't do that. So I want to effectively borrow, which is adding 100 to make this 100 and 0. If I've added 100 by putting a 1 there, I've got to add 100 somewhere else here. I can stick it on the end, or equally I can make that 700. 100 take away 90 is of course 10. 0 take away 700, similar problem. Right, I need to put a 1 on here, so 0 becomes 1,000, so I've added 1,000. So I've got to add 1,000 to this one, and I'm going to add it on here. So keeping the balance all the time so that the summation result doesn't change. 1,000 take away 700 is 300. And then finally 8,000 take away 4,000 is 4,000. 4,000 plus 300 plus 10 plus 9, which is of course 4,319. Now, over to here, we do the same thing but without writing it out. 4 take away 5 is a problem, so I put a 1 on there. I've added 10, so add 1 to the tens column. That becomes a 9. Now, the other guy showed a little 1 here with an 8, and you have to remember to add them. It's up to you which you use. 14 take away 5 is 9. 0 take away 9 cannot do. By adding a 1 on there, this has actually become 100. That's clearer over here. Yeah? It's 1 in the 0 in the tens column, and a 1 on the front makes that 100. But we don't worry about that. So 10 take away 9. Before we do this, though, we've got to add 1 therefore to the hundreds column. 10 take away 9 is 1. 0 take away 7, can't do that. So if I put a 1 on there, now I've effectively added 1,000. So that becomes 4, because I add 1,000 to there, so it balances. 10 take away 7, 3. 8 take away 4, 4. So this method works as a mechanical technique, but maybe by breaking the number into its constituent parts, it's a little clearer why.